All right, let's go through Money in the Bank. We had another year where someone who wasn't involved in a match actually ended up winning the Money in the Bank ladder match, which is interesting. All right, so they bookend this with the ladder matches, which is a good idea. I mean, you want to have their human car crashes, so you want to begin and end with them. Start with the women's one. Oh, that Lacey Evans on top of Raquel Rodriguez sunset bomb by Liv Morgan looked ridiculous. Shotzi going for that high stiff senton she likes, not getting all of the ladder, and then it looked like her face just like exploded, but it looked like she hit high on her shoulders and the back of her head. Hopefully she's okay. I mean, she looked like she got messed up in that. Becky Lynch going for the top of the ladder leg drop with Asuka on the ladder between the table and the ring. Didn't get enough of it, so it was like Becky doing like a butt bump bouncing on top of Asuka. Just an insane ladder match. And then Morgan won it. I'm like, okay, all right. There are lots of people have been high on Morgan for a while. I'm thinking she's not quite there, but putting the briefcase on her, I'm like, okay. Then if they want to pull the trigger on her, the ball's entirely in her court. I'm fine with that. So solid match. Raquel looked like $1,000,000 in this. Everyone looked really good. Continues lots of nice storyline. Seeing Becky Lynch kind of break down afterwards worked well too. They're gonna push her to a rock bottom, and then she's gonna just make her way all the way back up. Really solid opener. Loved it. Thought it was good. U.S. title match. I like seeing Theory in this position. I thought Theory and Lashley did very well. Lashley was incredibly dominant, but he would make a slight mistake, and then Theory would capitalize on it. It's a good story for when your face is a larger, more powerful individual, and your heel's gonna have to try to cheat and sneak whatever they can to try to maintain any sort of victory or lead. Switching the A-Town down into a Hurt Lock and having Bobby win, I like it. Crowd was behind Bob, and I'm like, this is good. Now this wasn't piped in noise when they showed the crowd. The crowd was actually excited for Bob, and I'm like, good. Bob deserves the title. With Roman not being around as often as you would want your main champion, those titles are going to be very important to help anchor the show. Cool with that. Carmella versus Bianca Belair. Solid match. I mean, Carmella is very good in the ring. She has great awareness. Is also someone who's very solid when it comes to the psychology of this. So you'd have Bianca make a mistake, and then Carmella would capitalize. Fine with it. Never thought for a moment that Carmella was going to win. So Carmella ends up slapping Bianca in the face. Bianca's like, oh, no, you didn't. Hits a nice kiss of death. Gets the victory. Then Carmella does a beatdown, and I'm like, ooh, we're going to do a Morgan cash-in on a vulnerable Bianca Belair? No. Okay, we're going to run this again at SummerSlam, more than likely. Hopefully Rhea Ripley gets better soon. I mean, that's, busting your teeth out from your own knee, from taking a bump and then suffering a brain injury. That's really going to derail the already partially derailed Judgment Day. A tag match. I know there's rumors we're breaking up the Street Profits. Why? Why would you break up the Street Profits? The Street Profits versus the Usos, I'd almost say they've surpassed the level of work we've seen the New Day and the Usos do. I mean, they put on a match that the crowd was so invested in. So many incredible near falls. Those two worked a match. It's hard to say I've seen really better matches, period. I mean, that's easily one of the best matches I've ever seen. The way that was laid out, the near falls, keeping the crowd engaged, doing the crescendo so the crowd got into it, and then doing the moments where the crowd kind of got back out, then bringing them back into it. Just beautifully done. Usos hit the one and done. And it was like a 1, 2, 3. Iruku's going into save mode. So let me just adjust this a little bit. Turn it back on, get a little more light in the room. Hitting the 1 and done, going for the pinfall, and then Ford having his shoulder not all the way down. I was like, was that the plan or was that a mistake? Like, okay, run it back again at SummerSlam. Why not? It would suck to break up the Street Profits. I mean, the work they've done has been incredible. RK Bro is fantastic. Work with Usos is, again, amazing. Stuff with New Day was also great, too. Even the more comedic stuff with the Viking Raiders worked. They're just way, way too talented to break them up. No. Give them some time. Unless they're thinking the tag division is going to be on lockdown for a long time, so make them single stars for a little bit. But the singles belts are also currently on lockdown because I don't picture Ford being able to defeat Roman Reigns. So then who got the come down spot after that? Ronda Rousey and Natalya. I liked this because both teams have alliteration. And Natalya trained Ronda. It's a really highly technical match. And I thought this was fantastic. This was a great way of going, okay, we had this really frenetically fast-paced, great tag match. Now we're going to bring it down for, here's your more mat-based offense. Liked it. Thought it was good. Had a nice change of pace from the rest of the evening. Rousey ends up retaining, but she ended up having a leg injury. Liv comes down, cashes in on her, beats her, and then becomes SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm okay with this. I am. People have been high on Liv. SmackDown's now hers. Do what you can with it. You probably don't have a Sasha. You also probably don't have a Naomi. You don't have Becky. You don't have Asuka. You don't have Belair. It's like, all right. You don't have probably you don't have the vast majority of the top talent for the women's division on SmackDown. You've got Rousey. You've got, you got Raquel. You've got Shotzi, who they need to do work with. You've got Aaliyah. You've got Natalya. You've got a solid group, but you don't have the absolute top group that you would have on Raw. So it's like, okay, have Liv be there. Have her be the anchor point. See what she can do. Men's ladder match. So Theory gets involved as well. I'm fine with that. Normally, when you're the 8th person who gets involved, it kind of foreshadows something. Okay, speaking of foreshadow, let's go back. So, for the women's Money in the Bank, I'm like, Liv's coming down, and you can tell she's emotional. I'm like, oh, she's going to win. And I'm like, I think she's going to win. She was probably told as she was making her way down, because you can tell she's flustered. I'm like, she might win. That's fine. That'll work. Put someone new into the mix. So they're all down in the ring. It's like, oh, it's been a great night. What's going on, Adam Pearce? Let's make this match bigger. Here's Theory. It's like, I still like to see Riddle win. That's his hometown. I was like, this is the E, you don't win in your hometown. So they did a nice spot where everyone put Omos through a table. Everyone buried Omos in ladders. And Omos needs to learn to bump just a little bit better in these sorts of matches. Riddle, beautiful super RKO off on Rollins. Looked fantastic. I liked seeing both Sheamus and Drew take turns lighting up the chest of Theory. Ends up coming down to Riddle and Theory. Riddle gets knocked down, Theory gets it. And I was like, ooh. Interesting. Like, do I picture Theory beating Roman? No. Do I picture Theory getting involved after a big match that Roman is in and maybe sneaking out a victory? Doubtful. But, again, if you want to make a new star, key phrase, new star, Theory had a decent segment with Cena. Theory just finished having a pretty decent feud with Lashley. Theory is like 25, 26. So that means he's got roughly 15 to 30 years left in his career, depending on his body of work and how well he keeps himself up and no sorts of injuries, keeping a nice, consistent, safe style. I mean, he could be a guy that, you put the card on, and he can run the company for easily the next decade, if not 15 years. Good, make a star. Happy to see it. Overall, this continues the trend with the E, where if the build up to the event hasn't been really good, the event is amazing.